Now we're going to look at adding a new worker, who has not previously been migrated, to a Mobilization SOW. From the home page I can go into the Services navigation on the left-hand side and click into my Statements of Work. From here, you'll be able to see a list of the Mobilization SOW that have been assigned to you by ADNOC. You will now be able to add your contractors against one of these Mobilization SOW to begin the necessary steps to onboard your contractors and ensure that they are compliant and ready to be assigned to a call-off agreement. I'm going to select one of my Mobilization SOW. When you click into the SOW, it is very high-level information at this stage because this is just for mobilization purposes. The action that I need to take now is to go to the top of the page, click on the Actions button and select Add SOW Worker. Once I do this, it takes me into the simplified process of adding a contractor to the Mobilization SOW. Now, I'm going to follow the page down, and we'll complete all of the relevant fields. Any field that is mandatory will have a red asterisk, and those are fields that we need you to complete. Where the field is optional, we ask you to complete as much as possible, where you have that information available. So if we go into the first field that we need to fill, which is location, we'll select one of the onboarding scenarios from here. As part of choosing or adding the worker, you will choose the relevant scenario that applies to this contractor. And this is based on the location of where they're working, the method of transport if they're working in offshore locations, and whether they need site access or network access, for instance if they're just working in an HQ building. For now, I need to go through and select the relevant onboarding scenario. So for instance, if I have a contractor that is working offshore, and they're going to require site access, network access and training via an external provider, I will make this selection in the drop-down. And now, automatically, those relevant mobilization steps will be assigned to the contractor, and you will see a list of the tasks and activities that you need to complete. So first of all we select the onboarding scenario. This then assigns the relevant mobilization steps, and we can now move through the rest of the fields and populate accordingly. The next thing we need to select is the role. Because we're using a Mobilization SOW, at this stage, we're just getting the workers to a point where they are compliant. We don't select the specific role that they're going to be undertaking. For mobilization, all we need to do is select ADNOC Contractor, which is the top option in the drop-down list. From here, we move down the page, and we need to complete relevant pieces of information. As we are adding a completely new worker, unlike the previous process we demonstrated, we are not using the existing workforce option. We will first need to add the worker's full name. We will then select the correct time zone. We're asked to populate the start and the end date. This needs to be within the date parameters of the Mobilization SOW, but more specifically it needs to be the dates where your contractor is going to be available to complete work on ADNOC sites. Please add your contractor's email address, where you have one. If you don't have the email address, because it's not known to you, then please can you include your company email address. So please add your worker's email, and if not, add your own or the person responsible for that individual within the supplier organization. The next field we have is the security ID. This is a unique identifier that will allow us to track contractors as they return to ADNOC and avoid creating a duplicate record for any individuals. The system will pick up any duplications and flag them to you as you complete the worker record. There is a pop-up help text that appears with instructions on how to create the security ID. For UAE residents, you will use the Emirates ID number, so that's the 15-digit Emirates ID number. For visitors, and for remote workers, as you can see in the pop-up text, you will use the Visa Unified number, or the worker's passport number. And in those scenarios you'll need to precede the number with zeros in order to make up a total of 15 digits. For the purpose of demonstration I'm going to add an Emirates ID number. We then need to copy and paste that into the Confirm Security ID box below. And then once we submit this, if this worker had been submitted before, it will flag and prompt us to check that we are not duplicating contractors within the system. We then need to go through the remaining fields and select the appropriate values accordingly. Based on where the worker is going to be working, we will select the worksite. We confirm marital status, blood group. This is all information that is needed as part of compliance or health and safety, so please ensure that the correct details are captured for individuals. Even though these field labels show optional in this demo, they are in fact required and must be filled out. You'll notice that where we have a drop-down field, where there are a larger number of values, that you can start typing and narrow down the selection. This will help you to speed up the search. Where any fields are not applicable to your contractor, you will need to type NA in the field. You will need to enter the full name as per passport and also the full name as per passport in Arabic. Now, for job titles, for instance, if I were to start typing, it brings up a filtered list. I can select from the options it's showing me, and then I can move forward through these remaining fields. Job type. This will either be project-based or timesheet. So if your contractors are going to be submitting time and you're going to be then billing ADNOC based on time-based activities, you'd select timesheet. If you are charging for set fixed deliverables or fixed-term cost, then it will be project-based. So the selection here is defined by the relevant details of your contracts with ADNOC. And then finally, just a couple more fields such as contact number, before we proceed. Because this is a mobilization SOW, there's nothing further for me to complete. So let's recap. We're creating that profile. We've assigned the onboarding scenario back at the top of the page when we selected the location. That then is all we need to start triggering the activities and the steps in order to get your contractor compliant and ready to assign to a call-off agreement. I'm now going to select Add, now that I've finished and I'm happy with the information entered. If we have any errors or there's any warnings, that will be flagged to us. You will see a success message and Fieldglass will add the worker profile to this mobilization SOW, and we can see here now that we have a contractor assigned to the mobilization. They are now pending approval. We can then go and see details of this individual, and see further information and start to manage the onboarding steps required to make this worker compliant. So I can click into that individual here and we can go and see the steps needed. And if we click on the Activity Items tab at the top, it will then take us to the necessary steps needed in order to successfully onboard this contractor. I will call out at this stage that, as you can see, they're all sat in a pending status, which means they haven't been completed yet. The action description is shown, as is the actor under Responsible by. You'll see here that for most activities, the responsibility is with you, the supplier. But we also have a team within ADNOC who will verify these documents to make sure everything is correct. And you'll also see where we have integrations into other ADNOC systems. If we go back to the first one and we click into this, we can then see on the pop-up further information of what we need to do. In the description box, it will give us clarity on the information we need to complete. So here, it's asking me to upload an attachment. From here I can choose a file, I can go in and select the relevant documents. I can attach this, and I can then select that Mark as Complete option. I can see where my document has been attached. I'm able to view it if needed, so if I mark it as complete, we're now telling or updating the system that the activity that's been requested has now been completed. You will not change the completion date. You will, however, have to enter the expiration date as applicable, dependent on the document you are uploading. You'll see in the text at the top. When uploading a medical fitness document, there are specific guidelines to follow with regards to the expiration date. Please take note of these guidelines. Expiration dates are used to send you a reminder to upload new documents when the previous version has expired. It is important to enter these correctly to ensure that you receive the reminders. We populate the dates, and we click Mark as complete. You'll then see that this activity item has turned green and shows as complete. So you'll complete all of the required activities. These will be verified and approved by ADNOC teams and by the system integrations. Once all required steps are complete, your worker will gain the necessary accesses and documents such as the HSE passport. The HSE passport contains all of the details and confirmation of the training, the certification, and the compliance activities that have been completed for your contractor. If you want to check for any additional items requiring your attention, you can view these from the home page under the My Work Items dashboard. Alternatively, you can view activities requiring your attention under the My Work Items clipboard icon in the top right corner of the screen. From here, you can click through to the list of activities and action them accordingly.